my channel. It's SoniaVerardo here from trenchcollection.com, fashion, beauty, lifestyle and mom related blog. My today's video is going to be different, it's going to be very personal and it's going to be difficult for me. It's a video that I've been planning to film for almost 7 years now. And yeah, it's going to be 7 years this May, at the end of the May. 7 years that my dad passed away, and I just wanted to film a video about it, share with you my experience, how I went through this, and yeah, just how I dealt with it. Hopefully this video will help to some of you who are going through a similar situation and give you a little bit of hope and comfort. I don't even know where to start from. I can only say to you that now it's a little bit less difficult for me to talk about this subject and to remember this event. I'm a mom now, I have my little big ray of sunshine, my joy, my hope, my future. So yeah, he definitely gives me strength. With time, you know, pain remains, pain definitely remains, and the sadness remains. It's not that the time heals, as there is a saying, time heals everything. I don't think that time really heals, but the pain just kind of transitions, and the first days it was that heartbreaking, devastating, consuming pain that was like burning inside of me. Now it's just like loneliness, sadness, just sadness basically. Yeah, but it's manageable. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. My dad passed away 28th May 2012. We aren't 100% certain about this date, but we kind of came to that conclusion. We did a little bit of like detective work in order to figure out the exact date of his death, even though they proclaimed like officially his date of death is 1st June, and we found him June the 2nd, but I don't think he died just one day before that. There are a series of different things like calendar and just a TV program schedule, newspapers and some bank account details, ATM machine details and everything that just kind of shows that he basically died on 28th. But you know, let's not get into too much details, it's not really that important for you, for this story. Anyway, in 2012 I already lived with my husband here in Italy. We had just moved into our new place. So if I recall correctly, I had like holidays coming up, days off work, so my hubby and I decided we would go to Croatia to spend a couple of days with my family. There was Alfa Romeo car event, like car meetup, that takes place every year there, so we wanted to attend that as well. So we had these plans, and I talked to my dad and we agreed we would you know, spend these days at his place, because my mom lives in the center of the town and my dad has this, had this bigger house in the suburbs, so he really enjoyed when we came to spend some time with him, and I agreed we would come, but I did not really say the exact date. I said to him I will confirm, you know, the exact date. I think I will be there on June the 2nd, but we will still, you know, talk and I will let you know about it. So I think like 1 week has passed and I did not call him, and this is one of my very big regrets. I did not you know, call him as much as I would have wanted to, as much as I would have wanted to now, you know, as much as I needed to. So he was the one that usually phoned me, and yeah, I was just caught up doing lots of different things basically, and yeah, they're all excuses right now, but you know, it's just one of my regrets. So guys, just be there for your parents, you know, let them know how much you love them on every occasion that you possibly can. Because we don't have unlimited time, unfortunately, we don't have unlimited time to spend with them on this earth. Anyway, on June the 2nd, I phoned him when we arrived to Croatia, and he did not answer his phone, so I thought maybe he's like out and about, he left the phone at home, I will just call him later. And I remember we went to my mom's and my granny's place first, so we spent a little bit of time with them, and in the afternoon we came to my dad's house. Now my hubby was parking the car, and I was about to go in the house, and I was knocking at the door, but nobody answered, so I started like phoning my dad, and yeah, nobody answered. So I thought maybe he's outside in the garden. He often had his house just unlocked, you know. It was a safe neighborhood, so he had his house unlocked if he was in the house or just in the garden. So basically I tried opening the door, I pressed on the doorknob, I remember vividly, I pressed several times, but you know, door was locked. And then I went in the garden to see if my dad's actually there, but he wasn't there. I shouted, "Dad, Dad," but he wasn't there, he wasn't replying. So my hubby then parked his car, and I was in the backyard. My hubby actually opened the door was unlocked. So that's one huge mystery to me, because when I tried to open the door was locked. Like, for me the door was locked, I could not get into the house. I still have like goosebumps when I thought about it. And my hubby actually found the door unlocked. He entered the house without any difficulties, and he was the one that found my dad lying dead in the living room. So he went outside and he said, "Your dad is in the house, but it's not good, you know." He did not tell me that he is dead, he just said it's not good. So I thought maybe he got sick or I don't know, something. So I rushed in the house, and when I saw his dead, lifeless body lying in the living room, I was shocked, I was numb. I did not know what to feel, what to think, what I just saw. I mean, you know, the first instinct is to call the ambulance, just do something in order to help him, because he clearly isn't feeling well. But I touched his body and he was cold and he was stiff. And there was nothing to do, you know, there wasn't any chance of bringing him back to life, because he was already gone, dead. So there wasn't even ambulance to call, because ambulance could not help him. There was only a morgue to call, somebody who would come to establish his death. So it was a lot to process, and I remember I ran out of the house towards my neighbors, and I cried for help. I shouted my dad died or something like that. I remember that my neighbor, when she opened the door and when she saw me and she saw my face, she got really scared, you know. Maybe she thought this is some crazy lady. She didn't recognize me at once, but then she did, and she, you know, hugged me and she offered me to stay in her place, but I did not want to. I ran outside and I just started like hyperventilating, and in that moment I forced myself to stop, because I knew that my dad would not have wanted this, me causing and making a scene, me causing myself feeling ill. So, because in that moment I started feeling like I'm going to faint, like I'm going to lose consciousness, and like I'm going to need ambulance. So I did not want to do that. I just stopped. I said, let's just go in my house and, you know, deal with this situation, as hard as it is. I remember all the neighbors gathering. I did not really want that. A lot of them came just to see my dad in that situation. I did not invite them, but you know how it is in small village. Word spreads around very fast, and it's like an event, and a lot of people came. And you know, I remember my neighbor lighting the candle for my dad, so in order his soul would find the light. And yeah, I just like stood there and I just repeated, he's dead, like he's dead, he's lying dead, I cannot do anything, he's already dead, he's cold. Yeah, so my uncle came, and I am so grateful that my uncle actually helped me a lot in this whole process, you know, arranging the funeral and everything. He was really there for me, even though we weren't very close, but you know, this brought us together. Yeah, and they basically proclaimed his date of death and everything, so I got a certificate. They took him away in Delnice. It's a little town in the mountains where he was born and where he was going to be buried. So I had a lot of errands to run, you know, the next day and everything, but I just wanted to stay in bed and just cry. This is what I wanted to do. I remember that very night I returned to my mom's place and I let her know personally what happened. I did not phone her, I let her know personally, and then we went back to our house, to my dad's house, to spend the night there. The next morning was a blur. It was very, very difficult for me to deal with that, but my hubby actually, he pulled me out of the bed. And he was basically the one who gave me strength to do things, because there were a lot of things to do, like paperwork and stuff that only I could do. So yeah, I was with my hubby, we went everywhere, wherever we needed to go, and I had my shades on and I was crying, you know, I was talking to the people, I was dealing with all the things that I needed to do, and I was just pouring tears, and this is how I dealt with that. This was like the first day. The second day and the third day went by basically the same. Day of his funeral came, and it was June 4th, it's the day before my birthday. I don't even know if there is a word to describe a funeral, if you can say the funeral was beautiful. But he had a really, really nice funeral. I did not even expect that. So many people came. I did not even know that he has so many people who care for him, so many friends. Like, the whole cemetery was full of people that I don't even know, you know, but that loved and, you know, wanted to salute my dad. He was buried with military honors, so he had military there, and music, and they covered him with Croatian flag, because he was in the military in the 90s, he was volunteering the war, so yeah, he had these military honors. And the next day I just wanted to hug that flag and, you know, keep crying in the bed for the rest of the time. So it was June, the weather was nice, it was sunny, it was warm, and I think we were a little bit lucky that at least the weather was beautiful. So there is something in the sunshine, in feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin. we went to the beach. My hubby actually took me to the beach right away, and I remember sitting at the shore, looking at the sea and looking at the sun sparkling in the sea. It looked as though a million stars were dancing on the sea surface. And the sunset came, and I remember thinking, I was listening to the music actually, I was listening to the music together with my hubby, and I remember thinking, you know, life goes on, like everything goes on, but my father like remained in that day. He remains in the past, and everything goes on. There will be another morning, there will be another day, there will be changes of season, spring into summer, summer into fall, fall into winter. I remember vividly thinking about this. I felt sadness and I felt urge and need to cry, but I also found comfort just, you know, by looking at the sea and by looking at that scenery of sun dancing on the sea surface, and by feeling the warmth of the sun on my skin. I felt some sort of comfort. I also started filming as soon as I possibly could. There was really no reason for me not to, because I found very big comfort actually in filming videos. So I filmed my first video after my dad died at the beach actually, and it was what's in my beach bag. I also went to the hairdresser. I had the appointment already scheduled, and I cancelled it only to reschedule it after a few days, because my mom told me, go to the hairdresser, you know, do highlights, bring some light back into you. So I did that, and this is the hairdresser that I've known for years and years and years, and she knew what happened, and I found a little bit of comfort just, you know, talking to her as well, and just having that little moment of pampering, seeing myself with this new hairstyle and new hair color. And basically life continued. We went to the supermarket, we purchased the newspapers. I was still crying. We went to do some beauty shopping at Drogerie. I was still crying, you know. I was out and about among people doing my daily things, crying because there were so much emotions coming out of me and I just couldn't stop them. So I was crying, but I was doing things, you know, and I did not really care if people looked at me in a very strange or weird way, but this is just the way I was handling things, you know. I just could not stop my emotions, and it was unhealthy for me to stay in my bed and cry. So I just kept crying outside, you know, doing things like daily life things. Also, we started cleaning the house, because my father, he lived alone for so many years since my parents got divorced. So obviously he, as a man, he could not really keep up with all the housework, and there were a lot of things that needed to be cleaned. So we started cleaning. So I remember I was cleaning from morning till night, and then at night time I was just so exhausted physically that I was able to sleep through the night. I was able to have like a good night's sleep, just because I was physically tired of all the cleaning that I was doing throughout the day. Also, I was drinking some herbal tea for relaxing that I found just at the local beauty store. So it was from Drogerie Ruhe und Entspannung. It's in German, but it's supposed to be like tea for calming and relaxation that you drink before going to sleep. You can also drink chamomile tea, but I'm not a big fan of chamomile tea. So this is what we were doing, this little ritual of drinking that tea and just then going to sleep. So I think, you know, sleeping well has helped me, you know, to just my mental health, to keep up my mental health. Then my hubby's parents came and we went to a little restaurant to eat something. And they took me to a coastal walk, so we all went to the little one is playing with his Lego toys. So we went for a long walk by the sea, just breathing that fresh sea air. It was, you know, it was helping me. It was helping me a lot. Also, knowing that I established a good relationship with my uncle, that basically I lost my dad but I gained my uncle because, as I've said, because of some family issues from my mom's side, we weren't close, but I kind of reconnected with him, and I found this part of my dad in my uncle. So I had this as a little comfort. And also maybe the biggest thing was that my dad, he knew that he is very sick. He had heart condition that he actually developed later on in his life, and he died just after turning his 60 years old. So he was still very young, but a few years before that he got sick, and he only had like 20% of his heart functioning. So it was tough for him. He was considering, you know, retiring, and he was considering having heart transplantation, but obviously he never made it. He just didn't make it in time. So he knew that he is sick, and he knew that there is a possibility that he could die. But he did not want to stress me out. He just occasionally would tell me, let me show you where I keep all the documents in case something happens to me. You will know where everything is. And I would always get mad at him, and I would say, no, I absolutely do not want to follow you. I just want to see where you keep your documents, because you need to live for as long as you possibly can, because there is no way I want to think about life without you. I will be so depressed. I just won't be able to go on. When he heard me saying that I will be depressed, he got so mad at me. He never got mad at me, but he got so mad at me, and he told me, I do not want to hear you say another word about you getting depressed after I pass away. You know, me passing is the normal, natural course of life. It's just the way things happen. It's a normal thing, and you cannot be depressed about it. Now it's your time. Now you have to live your life to the fullest. Those were the exact words that my dad told me. I kept repeating those words in my head, and I still do, you know, whenever I feel a little bit of sad or down, I just keep thinking about his words that now it's my time to live and I need to be happy. I am now who goes on, you know, living. I am a part of my dad, I am a part of my mom. He basically lives through me, and I need to be happy, and I have all the reasons to go on, you know, just happily remembering my dad. There are some regrets, obviously. There are tons of regrets in life, you know, family situations, the way things were. I wish I was able to spend more time with him. I wish we lived together. For the most part, we did not live together because, well, long story, I lived with my grandparents, and after that my parents got divorced, so I really did not spend a lot of time with my dad, but it's just something that now I can apply to my own family. I now, you know from experience that family is the most important, most precious thing that you can possibly have in this life, and that you have to do everything in your power to keep it together, to just love each other, to understand each other, to support each other. These are things that I can learn from the fact that I wasn't able to spend so much time with my dad. And I remember the last time I saw him, I remember when we were returning to Italy, I gave him a big hug. I said to him, take care, Dad, and I said to him, I love you so much. So I hope he knew how much I love him. Again, I'm getting emotional, even after 7 years. Here is how it is, but I am I am proud of my dad, you know, because he was a good man. Like, he was a really very honest, very good man with high moral values and with integrity, and this is just the proof how many people, you know, came to his funeral, and he was respected by so many. Yeah, and then the lady that organized the funeral, she actually told me, I know that it's not such a big comfort, but you have to think that he wasn't in a hospital, he wasn't suffering, you know, he died, you know, somewhat peacefully in his own home, reading his favorite books. We all need to die somehow, someday, and not many can have such relatively nice death. I don't even know, because obviously that is always painful, right? So when we returned here to Italy, my hubby went back to work, and I was left home for the most parts of the day. I worked only on weekends, so what I did was I started filming YouTube videos, and I don't even recall addressing the fact that my dad passed away. What I did, I started filming videos that were making me, you know, carefree, videos about beauty products, makeup, fashion, things like so, you know, just connecting with my community of people who were following my channel, just kept me going on. So YouTube did help me, just the fact that I was able to do something that I like, yeah, this is how I was coping. And also I brought back with me a lot of old photos, so I made collages of me and my dad, and I framed them. I will show them to you, I will insert them in this video, of past times of my mom and my dad just walking in the woods in the little town Delnice, where they were born and where they fell in love in the 70s when they were happy. Yeah, just things like so. I did that, and it helped. So whenever I felt sadness was kind of taking over my control, I just stopped for a moment and I repeated in my head little reasons to be joyful today, little reasons to be happy today. So even basic things as I'm healthy, sun is shining, I have my hubby today with me, or it's Sunday, we're spending the day together, or we are going to the sea, or I had nice breakfast, you know, whatever. Little things, at least one thing in your whole day, one happy thought, and you just have to repeat it or put it down on a piece of paper. So those were some little steps that I was doing. So if I can give you some word of comfort, is that it hurts. Don't try not to feel the pain, because you need to feel the pain. It's just normal thing. You just need to learn how to live with the pain. Just keep living your life, because this is what your parent would have wanted for you to live life happily. Because I'm a mom now, and I know that the worst thing for me would be to see my little one hurting, to see him crying, to see him sad. So I always want for him the best. I always want for him to live happily, the happiest as he can possibly be. I want him to live his life to the fullest. So now I fully understand my dad, and thanks to him also I started thinking about, you know, just procreating and leaving a little human being behind me, because in that moment when I saw my dad lying lifeless, I just realized that basically life goes on in me. His life goes on in me. And I am not a religious person, even though I was brought up in a Catholic religion. I am kind of disconnected with that, you know, canonic way of thinking. but I want to say that I'm a spiritual person, and I believe in Mother Nature, and I believe in just higher power and energy, and just, you know, moral values, and living your life, you know, just to the fullest and to the happiest that you can possibly be. Just fill yourself with positive energy. So guys, this was my story. I know I probably forgotten so many things that I wanted to share. So yeah, maybe I will do a sequel. I'm not really sure, because it was still very painful for me to talk about these things. But I just wanted, I felt like it maybe is the moment to share it now with you. I hope it helped. And yeah, that's all basically. I'm sending you all a huge kiss from Italy. Thank you so much for joining me in this whole YouTube journey, this whole life journey. Thank you so much for those of you who have been there since the day one. I really do appreciate you, and I really would like to hear from you more often. Just leave me a comment, let me know how are you doing. Don't think that I won't remember you, because I will. I do remember my subscribers, and yeah, I really would love to connect with you all. A big kiss from Italy. Ciao.